So I work in Parity Technologies, and Parity is basically the main blockchain infrastructure building company behind the whole Polkadot ecosystem, as well as substrate developer framework. My role there is that of data platform lead, which means basically decoding the blockchain data and providing some meaningful insights around the metrics and data points for the whole Polkadot ecosystem. But as announced, I will not be talking about data. I will be talking about Polkadot's approach to decentralized governance. And I will start with this rather bold statement, which you probably heard in some version or another throughout this conference, which says, we believe in a decentralized and fair internet where users control their own data, identity, and destiny. This is actually a vision statement from the Web3 Foundation. And hopefully throughout this talk, I will bring closer some of the concept and infrastructure protocol decision that Polkadot put in place in order to help make this vision a reality. But in order to do that, I need to get a little bit technical and explain what Polkadot is. So Polkadot is the first production-grade heterogeneous sharded multi-chain protocol which connects and secures blockchains with pool security and interoperability. Before I lose you, I will try to explain. So Polkadot is a layer 0 blockchain, on top of which specialized purpose-built chains are running in parallel, called parachains, and they all tap into pooled security and interoperability that Polkadot as a relay chain provides. If I translate this even further, Polkadot is simply a set of blockchains that work together and talk to each other securely. I think this is enough of a takeaway to understand what Polkadot is about. This is one of the fundamental principles of everyone participating in Web3 and blockchain ecosystem, and that is that the code is law. This belief stems from the fact that blockchains as data structures are predictable and transparent. So anyone can access the open source codes of blockchain repos and pretty confidently determine what are the possible outcomes on the execution of that code. So this trust or trustlessness, as you probably heard, is something that underpins the blockchain community as such. But just as real-world societies need some kind of structures and mechanisms in order to change the laws of the land, also the blockchain ecosystems need certain governance mechanisms in order to evolve the laws of the blockchain itself. So when you think about the years it took for example, for Ethereum merge to complete, or the fact that Bitcoin hasn't dramatically changed its code since inception in 2009, it kind of becomes apparent that how you approach this upgradability and how seamlessly you are able to upgrade blockchains to another version and a new set of rules becomes increasingly crucial. And how does Polkadot approach this challenge? Well, at its core, Polkadot utilizes a blockchain development framework called Substrate, also built by Parity Technologies. You can think of it as kind of a menu or a Lego box of complete rounded functionalities that anyone who wants to build a blockchain can freely access and drag and drop and basically customize their own use case, their own blockchain using these ready-made functionalities called pellets. This provides a high level of flexibility and basically gives you a possibility to have a faster kickstart in building your own blockchain. One key component of all of the substrate-based blockchains is the runtime. A runtime you can think of like the brains of the blockchain. And what's sets Polkadot architecture apart is the fact that you can replace and upgrade the runtime seamlessly. You can simply swap the brains of that blockchain. How are you able to do this? So I will not go into all of these three core technologies that power substrate-based blockchains, but for runtime upgrades, the one that is key is the WebAssembly. WebAssembly enables you to practically compile all the code logic that is necessary for the execution of blockchain, so the core state transition logic, and to run it as a part of the blockchain. The reason why it was built this way, because it was always meant for Polkadot and also its parachains to be able to adapt and evolve, to basically stay relevant by updating these laws of the blockchain. And this design allows not only for a kind of transparent approval and rejection of the changes, but it also implements them automatically. So the execution is automatically tied to the governance results of the proposed changes. What is remarkable here is that Polkadot basically allows you to do this seamlessly. So in traditional legacy networks, I'm sure you're aware of forking of the network. When the community cannot agree on basic parameters of the blockchain, like block size and things like that, this often causes blockchains to hard fork, to split essentially into two networks with their own community, with their own token value, etc. So having this compiled code as the part of the blockchain itself in Polkadot ecosystem, when a change is enacted, in this example, in the block 104, the upgraded code is automatically propagated to all the nodes in the network. So you don't have this overhead of communicating, using all of the available channels at your disposal to signal to all the nodes to upgrade their code, and you essentially eliminate any kind of disruptions that might happen to the nodes that have not upgraded their software. So this is a very beneficial part. And the reason I'm boring you with this kind of protocol level decisions, governance process is the fact that you have probably seen elsewhere in the Web3 space certain incidents where a small number of stakeholders for a certain network have decided completely opposite to the governance vote of their community, or they put governance structures on chain pro forma, but in actuality they just publish non-essential proposals up for vote, or they arbitrarily change the approval parameters in order to reach an approval and make a decision about a certain proposal. What this does is basically undermine that trust and trustlessness in code that I talked about, and it jeopardizes the decentralization and the trust in the blockchain community. In addition to Polkadot, there's also a canary network called Kusama. It is not a testnet, it's actually a real live network with real community users and token value. And the reason why I'm mentioning Kusama, it's like a separate Polkadot relay chain. It's a great ground for experimentation and also iterating and improving some of the governance mechanisms in place, because Kusama has some less conservative parameters specified for the execution of the network, and you can really quickly, in like real-world conditions, see what are the outcomes of certain governance decisions. Additional reason why I'm mentioning Kusama is because 3 months ago, actually the new version of Polkadot Governance was deployed there, and it will be deployed on Polkadot also in actually less than 2 weeks. But even with this current version, so current model of governance which is in place on Polkadot, all of these building blocks you see that constitute elements of this governance are already completely on-chain. So you have democracy for putting up and voting on proposals, bounties which encapsulate like larger initiatives that need to be bundled under the same proposal. You have Treasury for both Kusama and Polkadot networks, and Council and Technical Committee. For these two bodies, I will get back into in a second. So what can you do as a DOT or a Kusama holder do in the current governance model? You can propose a public referendum, you can prioritize it, you can vote on it, and you can vote for council members, and you can even become a council member. So there's a myriad of activities that you can do within the current governance model on Polkadot. One very unique feature to Polkadot is the so-called conviction weighting. Conviction-weighted voting essentially means that it empowers the minority DOT holders to get their voices heard, although they don't possess nominally enough DOT to influence a certain decision. What this means is basically that you as a voter can lock your tokens for a certain period of time, and this increases significantly your weight, your voting power. So in this example, I will not go through specifics, but since I use this conviction-weighted voting option, I was able to reject this proposal because in totality, my DOT tokens, given the fact that I used the longest lockup period, were actually worth more than the remaining two others, which nominally held higher DOT tokens. These are some of the stats around governance activity in Polkadot. I will not go through details of each one. Maybe what's important to mention is the one that's pertaining to forkless upgrades. So Polkadot chains have had more than 50 forkless upgrades, which puts them as the most upgraded blockchain ecosystem to date. When we count all of the substrate-based chains that can live outside of the Polkadot ecosystem, that is more than 1,000 forkless upgrades for those chains. So it's really remarkable. And maybe just one fun fact, even the logo of Polkadot you see here and the font, which is called Unbound in this presentation, were both proposed and elected to Polkadot governance. So when we say power to the people and everything can be voted on, we really mean it. But in order to evolve the governance system, you continuously need to challenge the status quo. These were some of the shortcomings that were recognized in the Governance 1 model. For example, you could put only one referendum up for a vote at one time. You have a long, almost a month of voting and another month for enactment period. You have heavy reliance on council and some on the technical committee. These are the two bodies with a certain higher level of privileges in this current governance model. And there is an occurrence of decision sniping. So this is the fact that you can change your voting decision at the last minute and sway the results of the vote, which kind of eliminates the confidence you need for making sound decisions about a certain proposals. And how does Polkadot deal with these types of shortcomings? By nuking them, essentially by demolishing these remaining semi-centralized bodies that were part of the governance model, and moving into fully on-chain and fully decentralized governance. This new version, which I said is already live on Kusama and will be live on Polkadot very soon, is called OpenGov, so second generation of decentralized governance. I would say it is not only the next generation of Polkadot governance. I would say that it's the next generation of governance in blockchains in general, because when you take into account all of the things that have been thought through and implemented, like being future-proof, fully decentralized, fully on-chain, fully transparent, and with automatic execution, so enforceability of those decisions, it is really objectively ahead of other ecosystems. So what is OpenGov bringing? First of all, you can propose multiple referenda at a time. Referendums are bundled into different classes, which represent kind of both the classification of a referenda and also the spend amount that is required to implement that change. And also whether it's a core protocol change or simpler decisions. Given that classes were introduced, also customization of parameters, for example, lead-in period, approval curves, and stuff like that were also attached to classes in order to kind of balance between the agility for decisions that should go quickly and shouldn't wait this long 1 month period for decision making, but also balance between safety for protocol level, very difficult, sensitive solutions, proposals which really need excessive time to be assessed and enacted. And yeah, as I said, the council and the technical committee, which had a bit higher privileges within the current governance model, are completely dissolved. They are replaced with the Polkadot Fellowship. This is a fully decentralized body of experts where anyone can apply to become a fellow, and it's based on kind of clear requirements for each rank and peer review, and it essentially incorporates on merit-based all of the experts that can give valid, currently mostly engineering decisions around and advice around the future of the network. But it is not just limited to the Polkadot ecosystem, so anyone can participate. Just to give you an illustration, council counted 13 members, and fellowship already within this 3-month inception has 50 members, and it is designed in a way that can accommodate hundreds and thousands of fellowship members. Okay, so the previous picture now looks like this. No more any central bodies that existed in the Polkadot governance, and there is no more notion of public referenda. Everything is a public referenda. Everything goes to vote. So you, as a token holder, can really participate in any decision that is pertaining to the future of the network. One cool thing also about the new OpenGov model is the notion of agile delegation. What this means, basically, when you feel very serious about a particular proposal, a particular decision that needs to be made, but you kind of feel that you lack technical knowledge necessary for you to make an informed decision, you can delegate your voting power, delegate your tokens to an expert within a community who can actually represent you, because he or she possesses the expertise that is needed to make that informed decision. If I kind of try to make a parallel to the democratic multi-party system, you always vote for one party, and this party takes care of all of the subjects and all of the decision-making on your behalf. This would be, agile delegation would be like for each subject matter or for each area you choose the persons from multiple parties which have the highest expertise on the matter. For example, for financials, for monetary policy, for infrastructure sustainability, and so on. So it's a really novel concept. So in summary, OpenGov introduces completely new, improved governance system in Polkadot. All of the token holders can submit a proposal, can vote on multiple proposals at a time, and the fellowship exists to sort of kind of safeguard and keep tab of critical decisions that need to be made. So in that way, they can whitelist them and expedite them if, for example, a bug that needs to be eliminated is concerned and so on. Maybe one more important thing, since OpenGov has been implemented on Kusama, already the governance activity metrics have surpassed all of the activity metrics in the previous model, which is since Polkadot's inception in 2020. Yeah, and basically, I would, at the end, invite you to participate in the Polkadot governance. Anyone can do it. There are many direct channels, forums. There's a Polk Assembly website where you can examine what proposals are being revised, what projects the treasuries are funding, and you can also apply with your own project if you see a use case where the community can benefit from it. Also, there has been significant improvements in the UI of the governance system, which hasn't been the greatest previously on Polkadot.js. So now you have a very user-friendly staking dashboard and governance UI, which can kind of help guide you through this process. And with this, I close and I open to questions if there are any. Thank you.